Episode 14. Yes, episode 14. I just did episode 13 when I did Big West predictions earlier this morning. This is episode 14. Big Ten media contract has been finalized for now, and we're going to get into the gritty details. What does it mean going forward? What does it mean for Big Ten expansion? Yes, Big Ten is not expanding. You've been hearing this from Peek Around the Corner for months. We've explained the reasons why. We're going to go more into today. If I was Oregon, Washington, and Stanford, I would hang on tight. Hang on tight. Don't sign anything. Don't sign any grant of rights with the Pac. Just hang tight. So let's get to it. Let's go to the details of the Big Ten media contract itself. As you know, yesterday I put out a tweet saying the number one thing I'm going to be looking at is the streaming component of this media contract, this initial Big Ten media contract. I was going to look at that aspect of it. The other parts we already kind of knew, right? It's been leaked out by Sports Business Journal, which do a fantastic job. I've been telling you, they know their stuff. But the streaming component is very, very interesting to me. The words that Kevin Warren said is very, very interesting to me. It matches up with all of our intel that we'll go over here. I'll be showing you some tweets that we put out weeks and weeks ago. The national press is finally catching on. You remember when they announced that Big Ten's interest has waned on Oregon and Stanford, and we said no, that hasn't happened. They were behind on this story. They were behind on the USC story. They were behind on the Oklahoma, Texas story. They're just kind of a little bit behind, but they're catching up. So let's get into the details of the deal. Go through some numbers. It's going to be a little dry. And then we'll get into what it means for the future. Because it means a lot for the future. We see stuff in here. This is going to change. So these numbers, the total number doesn't surprise me. That's why I didn't put out total numbers like 1.1 million, 1.5 million, 1.1 billion, 1.5 billion. Didn't really focus on that because this deal is not the entirety of the deal going from now to 2030 is not done. But let's go forward here. And plus, I see people talking about the $1.1 billion and they're averaging it out per school. There was always a difference between conference payouts and media money. This was always going to be less than what people were thinking it was going to be $100 million per school, Big Ten school, just off the media money. That's not what was going to happen here. But if you put out all the conference other money that gets into it, it's going to get close to $100 million at the start of the contract. I know that's not what you want to hear today, but I see a lot of comments. I try to warn people about misunderstanding the difference between conference payouts and media money, direct media money payouts that each school gets. It's going to be close to $100 million at the start of this contract. It's going to go way over it. Once the new college football playoffs begin and all this other stuff that gets added in, basketball credits, bowl money, Big Ten Conference Championship game, all that gets tossed into that conference payouts, which would be close to $100 million at the end of the year. So the total media money that is initially put out on this contract of $1.1 billion doesn't surprise me. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. This is a 7-year agreement. I believe that ends officially in probably June 30th of 2030. So July 1st of 2030 will be the new deal. Will be the next media deal. The Fox, CBS, NBC piece, I think we all kind of understand that. Fox noon game, big noon game, Eastern, noon Eastern, CBS, 3:30 Eastern, NBC gets the primetime games. The CBS deal will be backloaded, so they'll be paying less money at the beginning of this deal. They'll be showing less games, and that's understandable. They got the SEC contract still to play out, and then they're going to be doing more football games, more basketball games as the years go on. Here's the big one. The networks will cross-promote each other's games. That, Kevin Warren, I tell you, as we said previously, he was hired to get this contract done. He was hired to get the next contract done. This is why he was hired by the Big Ten presidents, to get this done. The pandemic threw him for a loop. He did not communicate well at all during that pandemic. But this is why he was hired, and he has smashed the Grand Slam. The networks are going to cross-promote each other. That's why when I think about the Notre Dame deal, they're not making a good decision if they're going to stay independent in football. But we're not going to talk about that in this episode. But I just did. The big noon game on Fox, they're going to be promoting the CBS game. The CBS game on afternoon, they're going to be promoting the NBC game. The NBC game, that's going to be doing the afternoon game with Notre Dame. They're going to be promoting the Big Ten game on NBC. Cross promotion increases the value of this deal. This is a home run. Kevin Warren is mirroring what the NFL does, and nobody does it better than the NFL. Okay? So, just the cross-promotional part, when I saw that, because people were questioning that, right? But that's a huge deal. Big Ten Network, of course, big part of this. I've got here, they get 41 games in 2023, maximum of 50 games a year going forward. Football games. NBC is going to get their 15 games. NBC is going to have a primetime game on Black Friday. And then CBS is going to do an afternoon game on Black Friday. I wonder what game that's going to be. I can see Iowa and Nebraska getting the primetime game on NBC on Black Friday. Right? Huge game. I mean, that's a big rivalry. Always gets a lot of views. But it sounds like there's going to be a second Big Ten game. It's going to be a rivalry game. That's the last week of the season. Is that going to be the Illinois Northwestern? Is that going to be the Maryland Rutgers game? So, very interesting. Very interesting. I was not expecting that. Big Ten title game. Another thing I was not expecting. A lot of surprises in this deal. The Big Ten Conference Championship game is going to be played on Fox in 2023, 2025, 2027, 2029. But CBS is going to get it 2024, 2028. NBC is going to get the Big Ten Conference Championship game in 2026. I was not expecting that. And that gets my mind rolling, right? And I think it's getting your guys' mind rolling on, if Fox is not having, if Fox is not having every single Big Ten football championship game, are we looking at a possible adding on this semifinal weekend where there's 4 teams that qualify for the Big Ten conference playoffs, so to speak? Kind of leads me to believe they're at least opening that space up, right? The years that Fox doesn't have the conference championship games, maybe CBS does, maybe NBC. We know that Big Ten has talked about a semifinal weekend in the past during the Delaney years when when Mark Hollis, the Michigan State athletic director, once said that 16 teams is our sweet spot, and then they were talking about a semifinal weekend as the years went on. I know Jim Harbaugh has talked about it. This whole setup and who covers the conference championship games, this is kind of interesting. It leads me to believe there's more smoke there than we thought. The basketball games, the CBS coverage of the basketball games, men's and women's, will start out small at the beginning, just like football, and they will expand their coverage as years go on in the contract. There'll be up to 47 men's football game a year, 30 women's basketball games a year. Fox and FS1 will do 45 games a year in men's basketball, and then some women's basketball. An incredible deal for Big Ten. The exposure is very unique. Never had this before, where you sit down on a Saturday and you're going to see a triple header every Saturday. And who knows, we may be seeing 4 games in a row in Big Ten. Maybe that fourth window opens up. Maybe there'll be a late night game every Saturday or many Saturday nights. Should we talk about that now? Let's talk about that now. Okay. We're done talking about the deal here because, we've been over it before. A lot of it was leaked. There was some interesting new aspects to it. The conference football championship game. But the streaming part of this is very interesting to me. Peacock. They get 4 conference games per year, 4 non-conference games per year in football. I was expecting more. I was expecting more in the streaming space for the football games. And yesterday I said I tweeted out that was the first thing I was going to look at. Now, do I got it wrong? Do I have the information wrong? Possibly. This just came out. Maybe we got it wrong. Maybe there's more. I know they're doing a lot of basketball games, but I was looking at Peacock's doing a lot of basketball games in this deal. But I was looking at the football part of it. 4 conference games a year, and then 4 non-conference games. Obviously, one of the teams being Big Ten games a year. I was expecting more, and I think there will be more, and I think that's happening right now. Let's get to what this could be for the future of the Big Ten. Where do I begin? Let's go right here. Kevin Warren. This was at The Athletic. Kevin Warren. You'll see things evolve even after deals with Fox, CBS, and NBC are finalized. There's constantly movement in this area. I look forward to determining if there are other ways that we can work with other major players in this business. Wow. I mean, Kevin Warren does not hide. He's not shy. Remember when he talked about how he's going to be bold and innovative? Kevin Warren. I'm going to read this again. There's 3 words together that really says it all for me. You'll see things evolve. Like you are going to see it. Even after the deals of Fox, CBS, and NBC are finalized. Now, if you go back to our yesterday's show and other shows, but yesterday's shows when I said, boy, it really doesn't matter if this deal is signed now. Don't say that expansion is dead in the Big Ten because the deal is done now. That's not how this works. It did not work in the Oklahoma, Texas, going to the SEC. That's not how it worked. The deal, SEC got a deal with ESPN, and then months later, Oklahoma and Texas came aboard. As you know, we thought USC would be added to the Big Ten after the initial deal was announced and signed. So, you'll see things evolve even after deals with Fox, CBS, and NBC are finalized. There's constantly movement in this area. I look forward to determining if there are other ways that we can work with other major players in this business. I look forward. Yeah, he is. He's looking forward. He's ready to go. He's absolutely ready to go. Okay. So obviously there is some, he's given a clue to you that expansion is not over. Another clue. Okay? Let's get on to this one. And by the way, I've been forwarded, and I appreciate you all giving me, my followers on Twitter and my followers on this show at Peek Around the Corner are just so in tune with everything. They know what we're interested in. They're sending me information constantly. This show is run by you guys and gals, basically. This Peek Around the Corner show is run by you all. I've gotten information about how the Action Network is saying once again that the interest towards Oregon, Washington, Stanford, and California has not diminished. They're still looking at expansion. Yes, we've been saying that for weeks, for months. Here is a tweet, and that Action Network, they sent that out this morning, by the way. I'm not going to put that up on the screen. It's behind a paywall, but here's BTM, our source, 8/23, July 1st, 2022. This is a day after the announced deal that USC and UCLA were joining the Big Ten. Washington and Oregon were not told no by Big Ten. Big Ten pause button on any additions other than Notre Dame has been pushed. Pac can't make any expansion moves until Notre Dame, Washington, and Oregon have finished their rounds with Warren. Oregon and Washington did not, we talked about this yesterday, they did not call the Big Ten. There were no talks. There was nothing going on. So there couldn't be any action taken. Conferences do not initiate conference realignment. The schools do. And the conferences might react positively or negatively. Mostly it's negative, but in this case, okay, so that was July 1st. We move on to July 29th, and this is when we start talking about this window. These dates were given to us specifically. I've been asked, what is the case about October 15th? What is that? I don't know. It's the date we were given. We assumed it had to do with the fact that the Big Ten wanted to get going on constructing how their conference is going to be structured. They keep hitting the delay button. How's their schedule going to play out? How many conference games? What school is going to have what as primary rivals, permanent rivals? Is it going to be 2 permanent rivals? Is it going to be 3 permanent rivals? When does the season start? When does it end? How many buys during the season? All that stuff, and it really is. So I don't know why this October 5th. I was told that Stanford Notre Dame plays on October 15th, but I don't. That probably has nothing to do with it, right? But the dates were given to us, August 15th, October 15th. Now, what's the date today? August 18th. And I think you're going to be getting more and more reports from the national media that, it's hot right now. It's very hot. This is your window of action. This is where the next expansion wave is being created. This is your window of action. Maximum leverage for Notre Dame. We have discussed this. It looks like they're not taking the invitation. It looks like they are not joining the Big Ten right now. New media contract can be and will be adjusted. Basically, Kevin Warren just said that today. BTM gave us this information July 29th. Oregon, Washington, and Stanford efforts in reaching out toward Big Ten since UCLA and USC announcements will turn into formal talks. And those talks are now formal. And you notice that Oregon and Washington are not talking in public, much like UCLA and USC. Much like USC did not talk about anything in public months leading up to their announcement that they were leaving the Big Ten Conference. They're staying quiet. Stanford has been quiet from the very get-go. They didn't even put out any announcements on the fact that UCLA and USC announced that they were leaving the Pac on June 30th. They have been completely silent the whole time. Okay, so that was July 29th. Okay, so August 4th, put out this tweet. There's a lot of reporting that, I'm not going to name the people, but there was reporting that the Big Ten interest has cooled on Oregon, Washington, and Stanford. We put out a tweet, Big Ten's interest has not cooled on Oregon, Washington, and Stanford. This is about timing. Notre Dame is setting the clock. Irish have until August 15th, 2023 to inform ACC they're taking all their sports out of the Big Ten Conference in time to join Big Ten by July 1st, 2004. Notre Dame is setting the clock, and it sounds like from SBJ that they have decided for now to stay independent. So now we go on to Oregon, Washington, and Stanford. But the Big Ten interests did not cool. Now, I got a lot of heat for this tweet from many people because the national reports were reporting something else, and that's fine. I can completely understand that. But the Oregon, Washington, Stanford, especially the Oregon, Washington fans, they know that we've been reporting that interest has not cooled. Okay? And again, we made another comment. Because we were getting a lot of heat here. So, Big Ten's interest in Oregon, Washington, and Stanford is not spiking up and down as we move forward. There is great interest from Big Ten corners. The release of the Big Ten media contract will be an event, and that happened today on August 14th. This was tweeted August 4th. Our eyes is on Amazon's ultimate Big Ten role, and it still is today, to be quite honestly. Amazon, Apple TV, they're trying to still get into the game. This is the people that Warren are talking about, other business leaders, other big media, potential media partners. This is where the space is going to be created for potential more expansion. The streaming aspect is very limited in this deal, this current initial deal for football games. That's why yesterday I said this is what I'm going to be looking at. If you look at my tweet late last night, and sure enough, it came in, and it didn't fill up the space that we thought maybe it would. So here we are. This tweet from August 4th is basically explaining what people are reporting today on August 18th. We go on to the next tweet. Oh, I'm sorry. That's it. So, let's get back. So what's going to happen now? We know from reports that Amazon was willing to overpay to get into this college football Big Ten sphere, right? To get into the space. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for this initial Big Ten contract to happen. And we know that Apple TV has come back again. Apple has tried to get into this sphere. We also just read a report yesterday, I can't remember who it was, that Amazon doesn't have that much interest has no interest in the tier 1 content of the PAC conference. That basically it's up to ESPN is basically the only one that has any interest. We don't know if that's true or not, but that's what's being reported. I know Pete Thamel of ESPN just put out a tweet today talking about how there's a lot of, I'm paraphrasing, a lot of hints that the Big Ten's looking at, possible more expansion. We know what Albert said, the Nebraska athletic director said there's going to be more movement, more realignment, more consolidation sooner rather than later. He did not quite tie that into the Big Ten. He didn't quite say Big Ten was doing it, but he's a Big Ten athletic director, a guy who likes to talk. So yeah, our position has not changed at peek around the corner. The Big Ten is not going to leave USC and UCLA home on an island. And there's a lot of really smart people out there that I read, that I listen to, who are into this. If the team that's coming in does not increase the pies of the current members, that team won't be accepted into the conference. Most of the time, that is true, especially in the past. But you got to think anew. Big Ten is looking at market share. Big Ten is looking at potential power struggle with SEC and gathering bargaining chips when they discuss the new conference playoff system. The Big Ten is also preparing themselves. What if SEC goes it alone and has their own conference football playoffs? There's a lot of other aspects to this. The world has changed. And there's also this internal political thing along with the Big Ten. Fox got what they wanted with USC, UCLA. Big Ten presidents are going to get what they want with Stanford and possibly California, which we don't have any information on. So if California becomes part of the Big Ten Conference, we have peek around the corner missed on that. Let's put that out there. Let's make that clear. Oregon and Washington fulfills value. Washington is a huge research university, and that is so important. Adding a research university out in the West, you better believe Wisconsin is all in favor of that. Their presidents, Michigan is all in favor of that. You better believe Ohio State's all in favor of Stanford for reasons we don't have time to get into the show. Okay? Oregon has a fan base, I'm telling you, that goes all over the mountain states. They go all the way up to western counties of Minnesota. They're much like the Nebraska fan base. They're spread out all over the West. They're a younger demographics fan base than Nebraska's. But Oregon's fan base they're a brand multiplier. Will they cut the little bit of the pie of the University of Minnesota to begin with? Illinois, Purdue, Rutgers, Maryland, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State. Will every Big Ten current school have a little bit less coming in if these schools are included? Possibly, yes. But the Big Ten will help the student athletes, everybody, with travel, keeping this Big Ten from not fracturing, keep USC and UCLA happy, because we want USC and UCLA to be happy, not just when they enter the conference in 2024. We want these decisions to be 100-year decisions. That's how the Big Ten operates. We have been talking about this. Look, you see that garbage can? Trash can. You see where it says Stanford, Oregon, Washington, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Minnesota, Notre Dame, Indiana. You see how that goes all right in a row? That's the trash can that I saw at an antique store when me and the wife celebrated a 20-year anniversary. We were going up and down little towns on the Mississippi River in southern Minnesota. Okay, you see that? This trash can I saw an antique store 2 hours after I tweeted out those tweets on July 29th about how Oregon, Washington, there's great interest and all that stuff. You just read those tweets. This was a trash can that we saw, and we did a little video of it. So forget everything I've told you, right? This should tell you what's going to happen. This trash can. I bought this thing. I think it was $25. It's going to be a famous trash can when this happens. I know other people have got this trash can. They've been sending me pictures. Keep sending me pictures of this trash can. I think it was made in the late 1960s. All right. So this tells you what's going to happen. Forget everything I've said. Forget everything BTM has said. That trash can tells you everything. All right. So if you like this content, please hit the like button. It helps us so much. Please share this video, even the trash can part. Share this video. Share it with your friends. Thank you for all the wonderful comments you have all been giving me. This is like the 8th day of this channel. It's taken off. We appreciate all of you. This is basically your channel. The information, the interest, the passion. We're going to be talking college football all year long. It's our game. Okay, and we got to take care of it. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to have fun. There's going to be celebrations and tears on this channel. I guarantee you that. So, from all of us at Peek Around the Corner to all of you, please, until next time, you all take care of each other. Thanks.